Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keiaradise. We got merch. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, join the tribe, and follow me on Instagram. So today is Juneteenth, June 19th, 2019. And if you don't know what Juneteenth is, more and more people are celebrating it. I think that social media has caused us to be more aware of us as a Black community and what we should be celebrating, because why would we celebrate the 4th of July? I don't care about the 4th of July. The 4th of July didn't care about me. Plymouth Rock, we did not land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Anyway, Juneteenth is the day where I think Texas finally recognized the Emancipation Proclamation, signed whenever it was signed, and the slaves, or my ancestors, were finally free from the shackles of American slavery, or slavery in the United States. So this day today is making me think a lot about graduating and education and stuff like that. So I was put it into perspective. My ancestors weren't even allowed to learn how to read, learning how to read, being seen with a book, or any type of literary, I doubt they had other literary devices. I don't think they had Kindles, on the plantation. But anyway, if you were educated or learned how to read or anything like that, you were put to either death or torture, or there was all kinds of consequences. So this just made me think about how what I have done and accomplished in my life is something that was not intended for me and my people, if that makes sense, because we were brought to this country and stripped of all humanity, and now 200 odd years later, I don't even think it's been 200 years, it's been 11 years later, we have these accomplishments. And I'm thinking about a year ago, I graduated from Fudan University in China. Actually, I was gonna wear my Fudan t-shirt, but I don't have it with me. But I thought this t-shirt was cool too, Hey, we got merch. Link is in the description. Yeah, so a year ago, I graduated from Fudan University School of Law with a bachelor's degree in science of law, if you will. I don't have my degree with me either. My degree, so I'm at my dad's house. Look. He's got these African American artistic masterpieces. I think every Black household has Ernie Barnes portraits. But anyway, so a year ago I graduated from Fudan University with my degree in law, bachelor's degree, and here we are a year from then, and I just want to kind of reflect on that and say how I feel and say what it's like a year later, if it was worth it. Well, obviously it was worth it, I think education is invaluable. You cannot put a price on education, okay? Feeding the brain. I feel like the brain is something it's a vortex. Everything you put into it, it'll just suck it up. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might forget stuff, but honestly, you can never there's no ceiling or limitation on knowledge. You can always learn more things, It's not that's what makes the brain so cool. So what else? So I was thinking my experience at Fudan. So it was a really interesting experience, because a lot of people ask me how hard was it? It must have been super difficult. And I feel yes, to certain aspects it was difficult, but just me reflecting on the day that it is today, which is June 19th, Juneteenth, it's nothing compared to what my people have been through. I look at tapes or past recordings of when they desegregated schools, and certain Black students were allowed into white schools in the Jim Crow South, and them being like, you know, tormented and completely like degraded, etc., humiliated, who knows, all the stuff that, there's just so many stories of people having to deal with, like, trying to get their education and dealing, or not people, African American people trying to get their education and just being absolutely like abused throughout that whole process. And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I had to do mine in another language. Yes, that had its difficulties, don't get me wrong, it was definitely difficult, but it was not like I had to worry about my safety, or I had to worry about like, can I actually do this? You know what I mean? In terms of just mental health, or not just mental, physical health, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm being threatened and harmed every step of the way for me to get a degree. You know what I mean? Like, there's, like I said, there's just so many examples of these type of stories existing. And I mean, I feel bad because I can't just think of one particular person, but like, you know, you just Google that type of stuff. Google, okay, for desegregating schools and Jim Crow, whatever. I mean, there's so many. Like, I can even think about a historical figure that I'm really, that I really admire, Malcolm X, and him being, I think he was from Michigan for sure, Lansing, Michigan. And he was one of the smartest, if not the smartest in the class. And his teacher had asked everyone in the class, what do you want to be when you grow up, you know? And he goes to a predominantly white school. If not, I think he was the only black student at this this is in elementary school too. And his teacher is asking every student what they want to be. I want to be a doctor, firefighter, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, cool. It gets down to Malcolm, and he says he wants to be a lawyer when he grows up. And that the teacher stops everything and is like, no, I don't think you should be a lawyer. You should try to be a carpenter. Do something with your hands. You know, you people are good with your hands. Like, I've never gotten that type of feeling in China or in Fudan University. I felt like, you know, I had a lot of like cards against me just being a non-native speaker, but I also had a lot going in my favor because like they really do push to have foreign people part of these programs. So I was like pretty much all good. I think like from my my third and fourth year were pretty, overall pretty easy, you know, not easy, but like I knew the way of the trade, kind of like, you know, when you're a freshman and you're a sophomore, you're still just like getting your feet wet and understanding like the system. And then like Chinese university culture or college culture is drastically different from that of the United States. Like in the States, people are really expected to kind of like build a community. Like, you know, you have things like sororities, fraternities, parties, and like student body. Oh, sorry. I was watching something. I pressed pause. Let me just turn my TV on. Sorry. You know, student body, you have like a lot of these different things that I feel like just don't exist in Chinese university culture, even at the top university, in one of the top universities in the country, which was Fudan's number 3. So it's like Tsinghua, I was gonna say Qingdao. Tsinghua University and Peking University, these both are in Beijing, and then Fudan University is number 3, is in Shanghai. And so like I still felt like their college system or their university just seemed like not very well established, if that makes sense. Because like, for instance, the law department, I feel like it was very new. It was like maybe only 20 years old, you know, 20-year-old law department. If you go to like a law department in, say, Harvard, like Harvard Law, like that's been around for centuries. I would definitely argue that Harvard's been around at least since like the 1700s. And then you have Fudan University, which was founded, I think, in like 1905, but it had like gone through so much stuff throughout like the 20th century. They had like so many things like being closed down, and you know, when they had the communist like revolution, they closed down the schools and and they opened back up in like the late or early 90s or something like that. So I don't know, it just definitely feels like not as well mature, you know. So there's certain like resources that I feel like just don't really exist out there. Like I know that even when I was going to City College in San Francisco, which is a community college, like there are just so many resources that help the students out. I'm saying like tutoring programs, buddy, stuff like that, like all these things where I was thinking like, wow, do you guys not have that here? And they're like, oh no, we don't have that. Like, mayo banfa. And I'm just like, okay. Like, see, and I feel like in the future, they will have this type of stuff, because come my third year, we had this, because like they noticed that like a lot of the foreign people, and at least this was in my department, not for all of the departments of all the foreign students in doing majors at Fudan, but at least for the School of Law, like this one professor, I had a little bit of a crush on him too. This one professor, he was pretty young. I think he's got to be in his like late 20s, early 30s. Like he could not be anything older than 31. Okay, just saying, side note. So he had observed that like the issue for our first couple of years was that we were all failing our exams, our final exams, you know what I mean? Like there was just so many problems. Well, like we would fail the first time and then have to like retake the test. So I made a video talking about tips on how to study a major in Chinese. But anyway, like he noticed that, and then he started like, he kind of took the lead of helping us have like foreign test prep and stuff like that, because yeah, we struggled so much doing these law exams in Chinese. Like it was so difficult. But like that didn't exist my first and second year, but like the third year, by then there was a little bit more of a how do you say, a little bit more support. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to come on camera to say that I am really grateful for my experience of studying in China. I know that this is something that like my ancestors would be like, what, girl, we really we did that, you know. 11 years later, we got a black girl in China. We got Lily Keiaradise doing her thing in China, got her degree in Chinese law. But I must say, I'm still trying to find what I can use my degree for. I'm currently unemployed, which is not a bad thing. I'm actually like really valuing this time, because, you know, imagine like studying a degree in another language, especially one like Chinese, for 4 years, even though I technically had studied Chinese for 8 years, I think. Yeah, 8 years, and having really no break, and then just like I got hired at my other job even before I had graduated, so I didn't have even a smidget of like free time to myself, and that's what I'm doing now. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I would like to know like your educational background. That's cool, right? You know, are you all getting a degree? If I want to get a master's or not, I am definitely not about that life right now. A master's, you know, I believe in free education. If it ain't free, it ain't for me. And then I'm definitely not feeling the idea of going back to Fudan. No, on Chinese government scholarship. No. I'm been there, done that. I was like, let's do the next thing. Anyway, also we have merchandise. I have some more designs in the works. I have to like list them and everything like that on in my Teespring store. So if you like this, we also have phone cases and some other goody stuff. I have another shirt too that I've yet to purchase, but yeah. Okay, so I hope you like this video. I'm about to go back to watching 90 Day Fiancé. If you watch 90 Day Fiancé, tell me, isn't it freaking amazing? Yes. Okay. See you next video. Bye.